Fear. It's the whisper in the back of your mind, the shadow that lurks when you're alone, the weight that pulls your heart into your stomach when uncertainty looms. Fear is universal. It binds us as humans and humbles us in the face of the unknown. Yet, the ancient Stoics saw fear not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a powerful force to be harnessed, a guide that can lead us to strength, growth, and an unbreakable spirit. In our modern world, fear is often painted as a weakness, something to avoid or suppress. We are told to overcome fear, to push it away, to pretend it does not exist. But the Stoics knew better. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In these words lies a profound truth. Fear, when confronted with wisdom and courage, is not the barrier we think it to be. It is the very path to a fuller, richer life. Understanding the nature of fear. Before we can harness fear, we must first understand it. The Stoics believed that fear is rooted in anticipation, in our anxious desire to control what is uncertain. We fear loss, failure, pain, and the unknown because these represent realms where our control is limited. Epictetus taught, "Men are not afraid of things but of how they view them." This insight reveals that fear is not found in external events but in the judgments we make about them. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff looking down into the depths below. The height is just a fact. It is our interpretation of that fact, our thoughts of falling, of danger, of what might happen, that gives rise to fear. Here lies the first lesson in harnessing fear. Recognize that it is born within the mind. It is a creation of our own perspective. To change our relationship with fear, we must change the way we see it. Fear is a teacher. The Stoics held a belief that life, in all its trials and challenges, is our teacher. Fear is no exception. Instead of seeing fear as a foe to conquer, the Stoics teach us to see it as a signal, an invitation to look deeper within ourselves. Seneca, who faced exile and political turmoil, understood this well. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Our fears magnify potential pain, creating suffering before any actual harm occurs. But what if we paused and asked ourselves, what is this fear trying to teach me?" When fear arises, it often points to an area where we feel vulnerable or uncertain. It shines a light on our perceived limitations and insecurities. It is in these moments that we have the chance to grow, to fortify our minds, and to face what we once avoided. Fear, when harnessed, becomes a mentor that leads us to deeper self-knowledge and resilience. The power of facing fear head-on. The Stoics were not naive. They knew that life would bring moments that test our resolve. They did not deny fear or pretend it could be eradicated. Instead, they faced it head-on. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Facing fear does not mean recklessly charging into danger. It means acknowledging its presence, understanding its root, and taking deliberate action in spite of it. It is standing firm in the storm, not to defy nature, but to prove to ourselves that we are capable of weathering it. Each time we confront fear, we train our minds to respond with courage rather than panic. We build a reservoir of experiences that remind us that fear, when met with wisdom, shrinks before our strength. Transforming fear into action. Fear paralyzes only when we allow it to. The Stoics believed in transforming fear into purposeful action. When faced with a daunting situation, the question is not, how do I avoid this fear? But what action can I take in response to this fear? This shift in mindset moves us from passivity to agency. Epictetus urged his students, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." If fear arises when you think about failure, then act with preparation and determination. If fear whispers that you are not enough, respond by building your skills, by learning, by becoming more than you were yesterday. Fear, when harnessed, becomes the push that propels us into action rather than the anchor that holds us back. Using fear to strengthen resilience. The Stoics believed that resilience is built not in the absence of fear, but in its presence. Each moment of fear is an opportunity to practice resilience, to remind ourselves that we are more than our worries. Seneca's words echo this truth. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. The friction of fear is what polishes us, shapes us, and strengthens our inner resolve. When we view fear as an advantage, we no longer see it as an obstacle, but as a catalyst. It is the call to prepare, to fortify our minds, and to act with intention. It teaches us patience and discipline, for in facing fear, we learn not to react impulsively, but to respond with thought and control. Reflecting on fear and gratitude. An essential practice in harnessing fear as a Stoic advantage is reflection combined with gratitude. Reflect on past moments when you faced fear and overcame it. What did you learn from those experiences?